Okay, we're doing another do-it-yourself project. And this time, because we've warmed up today, I think it's like 64 degrees out here. It's crazy warm. So we're out in the garage. We got the door up. We're letting the sun come in here. Isn't it nice out?
It is beautiful.
We hit the gym this morning. We got a little run in, and so we're feeling good. So what am I doing is I wanted to get out here while it was nice and replace this light. As you can see, I've already taken the shroud off of it, but all it does is pop off. There was nothing special about it. It's just plastic. In fact, you got to be careful not to break it. Break the tabs on it. So this just popped off. And then as you can see, this light got hit, I think, more than once. The lens is broke and the bulb inside has been hit too, so it's busted. So we're replacing it. The factory, the Tiffin factory, wants $188 for this little fog light. We found it on eBay, or Therese found it on eBay for $45. So what a deal. It is brand new, never been installed, and here it is. So it's the same exact light right from the factory, but it's from an eBay. Maybe the box had been opened or something, but never installed. Brand new light for $45 versus $188. That's a good value. I wasn't going to pay $200 for these lights. That's insane. But so here we go. So we're going to replace it. So I'll set the camera right here. I think this is a pretty easy project. I thought there might be 2 or 3 screws involved, but it looks like there's only 1 screw involved. So I already took the 1 screw out right here on this corner. The other 2, looking at the newer light, the other 2 are just tabs. These tabs don't have screws. They just go in underneath. There's a little place for them to fit in there. Then you push it in, and then you put 1 screw in. So that's all it is. It's 1 screw holds this whole thing in. Plus these are in a little fitment thing that makes it tight, but it's not a screw. And then you just pop the cover back on. So I'll be glad to have that light working again. If I can find where I put. So this is the specialty screw that's in there. It's a star. Whoop, here we go. It's one of those star screws. I thought it might be a Phillips, but I don't know why they have to specialize all this stuff. But I do have them. I've got a small little case of miscellaneous specialty type tips, so I was able to get that off. In fact, here's the little screw head right here, and it fits snugly, and we'll be putting it back on the same way we took it off. But first, we got to get the old one out. So there should be a little wiring harness on here. It's right here. Looks like it's just a plug and play. You push the little clip. It might be one on both sides, and then you just pull it off. That's all there is to it. In fact, I got glass falling out of the lens here. And you can see the light, the bulb inside is cracked too. So I think this got hit multiple times. But somewhere on the Alcan highway, going up to Alaska or coming back. I don't know exactly when it got damaged. So, all right, so this will just go right back on the same way. You take this little plug and play device here and make sure it clicks on both sides. Okay, I felt it click. I don't know if you could hear it, but I felt it click. So that light should be working. So now all you got to do is, there's 2 little tabs. I'll try to show you. I don't know if it'll show up in there or not. There's 2 little tabs right here. And here are the tabs. And so those 2 tabs just fit inside those 2 tabs. Okay. So just kind of carefully, you don't need to force anything. Those are the tabs fit in there perfectly, and the screw lines up nicely. So now all you got to do now is just line the screw up. I'm using my screw gun here because that's the only kind of tips that I have like that is for the screw gun. So you just got to do it carefully and not over tighten it. Okay. That got it. Just double check that with my finger, make sure it went all the way down. It's good and tight, and that's all there is to it. Then you take the cover, line the tabs up, and I think this was at the top. What this is it's a little space that you're able to get a tool in there and you can align this. It's like to align it. I'm just going to leave it with the factory alignment unless there's some reason to change it. But we're not trying to align it right now, we're just trying to install it. So you just line those little tabs up. This is my first time having this off, so it should just snap into place. And there it goes. It went on easier than it came out, actually. Just making sure it's snapped in all the way. And that's it. That's the finished product. So we got a good savings on this light. And I like to have all my lights working. I don't like it when one of my lights doesn't work. So these fog lights are actually really good on this camper. They do a good job lighting up the road, especially under low visibility conditions, fog and whatnot. So it took me a little while to actually realize that this light was out. But I did a walk around and I'm like, oh man, that light is broken. So we got a new light, we got it installed, and that's another simple DIY project. Now something else we got going on, I don't know how much I'm going to do of this today though, because it's going to be a project and I don't know really what's going to be involved. This is the mattress we got for the RV, and we're going to fit it in there, but there's going to be some work I have to do inside there. It'll fit in the bed frame, but there's a 4-inch headboard piece that is going to have, because this mattress is 5 inches thicker than the stock mattress, the headboard is part of the mattress, like it's part of the length. Your pillows are supposed to go on the headboard, and then, you know, so what's going to happen is that headboard is going to keep the mattress from tipping up. It's a Murphy bed. It's also, when it comes down, it's going to want to push up on that headboard. So what has to happen is that headboard is going to have to be removed and eventually raised. I'm going to have to raise both sides of it at least 5 inches to put it back in. But for the immediate, I want to go in there and look and just to see what's going to be involved. I think that bed has to be tipped on a 45. I can't put the bed all the way down in the garage because the slide out won't go out. The slide out has to go out for the Murphy bed to come all the way down. But I don't know that I have to bring the Murphy bed all the way down to put this mattress in there. I think I can do it on a 45. So I'm just going to give it a look-see and see what's going to be involved in that and see how much time I want to put to that. I want at least get the mattress in there, but I need to get the headboard probably removed at least. And then I'll have to figure out a way to have it elevated. So we'll have to do some crafty engineering. But I got to first see what I got. So let's go in and see what I got. Hi guys, so we're doing another DIY and we're back on the RV. So what are we doing with the RV, you say? Well, I've had this item for a while. It's a tire pressure monitoring system, and even as nice as this tiffin is, it doesn't come with any tire monitoring, which is kind of odd. I would think, you know, at the price point that these RVs are, that they would have tire monitoring, but they don't. So we went and got a tire monitoring pressure system. So basically what it is you have the monitor itself, which that's the display unit. And then you have a solar panel on this one, so it sits up in the dash, or, you know, somewhere in the dash, so that you can see it from the driver's seat. And also if you're driving in the sun, I guess it'll solar power these batteries. The battery in this unit lasts 30 hours. You can also plug it in with a USB. I'm hoping to be able to install it on the dash in a place where I can run the cable and just keep it connected to the USB. So it'll always have power, whether there's sunlight or not. So that's kind of my plan, but we'll see how that works out. I haven't sat in the coach and looked at where it is I want to put this yet. I haven't done that. But what we need to do first is it comes with this little tool. And this tool has a couple of applications. You have these tire valves, sensors. So the sensors are in these, and they're numbered 1 to 6. So this is a 6-tire monitoring system because the coach has 6 wheels on it. It has 2 front wheels, and then on the back axle, there's 4 tires. It's a dually, is what it is. And you have to put them on in a specific order unless you want to go and reprogram all these sensors, which I don't care to. So the way that they're numbered is front left is 1, right front is 2, and then going to the back, left side first, 3, 4, 5, 6, straight across the back axle. That's fine with me. It works for me. So they are all numbered from 1 to 6 right on the top. And these have little batteries in them. And with that tool, you're able to take the valves off. You're able to open these up and change the battery. And the instructions tell you what type of battery goes in there. I think it's just a little, like a watch battery, the flat ones, goes in here. And they say it's easy to change them. So they come with batteries, so I don't have to really put batteries in them. They're lightweight too, and it also has the brass screw in, which I like that. That's going to last a lot longer than the plastic. They're not very heavy. They're lightweight. They're designed that way so that they don't throw the wheels out of balance. Okay, so we're going to go and install those. Also, what this kit has, I don't think I'm going to need it for this RV because this RV has a pretty short wheelbase. But if your monitoring display is too far away from your sensors, they do include this kit here. And what it is, you place this halfway in between, you wire it up to a power source, and it's a booster signal booster from your sensors to your display. I don't think I'll need that, but of course I'll hold on to it. And then I did email them because in the instructions it doesn't say anything about this. It's like, what is this? What is this for? Is it a power supply for the, I didn't get it. And I was like, what is this for? There's no mention of it in the instructions whatsoever. So I emailed the company and they replied back and gave me instructions on how to install it. And I was like, great, put that in the instructions. The regular instructions tell us what this is. I didn't know what it was. I was like, wow, okay, so it's good. Anyway, so it does come also with some extra gaskets. These gaskets are for when you change these batteries. The gaskets may, get broken because this needs to be waterproof because it rains, right? So these are extra gaskets, and then they got extra little seals for the valve stem because in the center it has a little gasket there inside. And so you see here the little gaskets too for inside. And then the brass nuts we're going to need because the brass nuts are used to, you run it down the stem, then you put the sensor on all the way down, and then you run the nut back off until it's tight against the sensor. So it's a way of locking the sensor into place. So that's what you'll need the tool for. So we're going to reposition the camera over by we'll do the front left wheel first. And then I'll do the right front wheel first. So we'll be starting with sensor number 2, just because it's easier to access and there's better lighting. So we'll go ahead and do that and see how that goes. Okay, here we are at the right front wheel. So we want to make sure these sensors are in order. I chose to do sensor number 2 first, which is the right front. So we have the number 2 sensor. And the valve stem is not in the best location here, but it's right here. I mean, ideally we would, move the tire, but we'd have to move the coach. And we're inside the garage, so we're not going to do that. I'm just going to take the valve stem off. Now, I was in here yesterday, and I checked the tire pressure on all the tires, and they were a little low because of the colder temperatures. So I added air. They were all like around 51 pounds. They do need to be at 61 pounds, so I got them all up to 61 before I started. And this item here, it comes from the factory at 36 pounds. So I've reprogrammed it to 61 pounds. Now, why is that important? Because when you set your standard PSI, then what it does is it calculates low pressure and high pressure and temperature. If your tire is running hot because of maybe the tire is running hot for whatever reason, maybe it's got, usually if you're losing air pressure in your tires and the pressure is going down, that will normally create a high temperature situation because you're putting more rubber on the road and it's creating heat. So it also senses that and it lets you know. So what it does is it goes 0.75 of the 61%, which I'm going to guess is around 45 pounds. So if you get down to 45 pounds, it sends an alert to the module and lets you know. It also tells you, I think every 6 seconds, it updates its actual air pressure. So you'll see it going to 60s, 59, 58. But when it gets to 45, it will actually audibly beep and it will alert you that way. So if you don't have to pay attention to it until you hear an alarm, then it will alert you and it will alarm you audibly, so you'll hear it and see it. So it also has a high pressure rating at 1.25 times 61. So whatever pressure that is, I don't know off the top of my head, 75, 78 pounds. So when it hits that, it alerts you audibly and visually to tell you you have a high tire pressure system going on, or pressure or temperature. It does temperature as well. So I have already set the factory preset readings from 36 up to 61. The pressure, and you can set each sensor separately, but all of these tires are all 61 pounds. That's what on the door panel, the label on the door panel recommendation, these are still the factory tires, so I don't need to deviate from that, is 61 pounds for all 6 tires. So that was really easy. I just set it to 61 and they're all the same. So I just wanted to make that note clear. So I'm going to put the phone back on the stand here, and then I'll show you when I'm done. But what I'm doing, I've taken off the valve stems. These are metal valve stems. And I'm putting on the nut. It's a brass nut. And so you use a little tool to tighten it down. Actually, we're not going to tighten it down. You're just going to put it on first. So I'll go ahead and put this on. Being careful not to cross thread anything. It should just go on by hand real easy, and it does. So you screw it down. And it doesn't need to be tight. You just screw it all the way down the stem until it's all the way down. Okay, there it is. I think you can see it there. Now, sensor number 2, tire number 2, I'm putting it's threaded, so you just screw it on. You might hear air escape, you might not. So that should go all the way on. You do hear air for a second and then it stops. Okay, so I'm going to put that on, not too tight, just hand tight. Now I'm going to back the nut up, unscrew it up to the sensor. Once it gets up next to the sensor, which there it is, then I grab this little tool, and it's got a 90 on it also. It's also got a straight. So I'm going to use the 90, put it on the nut, and then tighten it up. Now these don't need to be like wrenched on. All you're doing is keeping somebody from stealing your sensor. And so that's pretty tight. That's pretty tight. So it won't fall off and it can't easily be taken off. Now if a thief wants to steal something, they're going to steal it no matter what you do. So I'm going to hold on to these caps because they're good to have, but right now you can see that sensor is in place. Let me show that to you real quick. And that's what it looks like. Can you see there where I screwed the nut all the way up against this? So now it's tight. So that's how you put them on. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 5 just exactly like that. And then you don't need to see all 5. They're all 5 exactly the same. So that's how you put the sensors on. And then we'll move inside the coach. Okay, I just wanted to show you what I did here. This so 3 and 4 are on this side. Now it goes 3 outer dual, 4 inner dual, because it goes 3, 4, 5, 6 across this axle in the back. So you've got 2 valve stems here. They're both metal. One has an extension on it from factory. It goes all the way to the second dual. So the inner dual would be number 4, because you're going 3, 4, right? And 3 would be the inner dual. And you can tell this one goes to the inner dual because the stem does a 90-degree turn right here. You can feel it. So that goes to this tire, and this one goes to the inside tire. So that would be 4, this would be 3. And you got to keep that in mind, because then when you go back over to the other side, kind of tight in here, but there's less light on the other side, but I'll show you here. It's the same way. So the inner dual is going to be 5, which is going to be down here, and 6 is up here. Goes to the outside tire. So it goes 3, 4, 5, 6 right across the axle. So you just got to keep that in mind when you're doing that. So now, what I want to do, let me put you back up on a camera stand here. Okay, I got the monitor up. I kind of want to show you. It's still populating, but it's showing that front left tire. I guess that'd be the front left. Front right, actually. The front right tire is showing 60 pounds. So we lost a pound putting the valve stem on. And then as you go down to the back inner dual, it looks like it's at 60 pounds. And then the outer dual's at 59 pounds. So we're just a pound or 2 off. I'm not really going to worry about it. We're inside a garage. It's kind of cold in here. And they'll warm up when you get them outside, so they'll be fine. The other one is reading 59 as well. It's starting to populate, so there'll be one here and then one at the top. And you'll have 6 sensors that it's reading. I could be a little too far, too, because I'm standing in front of the coach about 10 feet. So we need to go inside the coach, and I might be just too far away. Maybe I need to get closer. Let me get closer to those, and it'll probably pick them up. It's supposed to read every 6 seconds. So there we go. It picked up another one there at 59, and then it should pick that other one up shortly. So we'll go ahead and mount this inside the coach, and we'll see where we're going to put it. Okay, now we're inside the coach. So what I did is I got out my cord. This is the USB recharge cord. It will run on the battery by itself, but I decided to just put it kind of like right center, right on the console. It's not in my viewing way of the road. It's right above the steering wheel if I'm sitting back. And it's in perfect view, and it doesn't take my eyes off the road. I did consider putting it kind of down in the holler here, but or up over here, but it didn't have a good surface, and it's kind of way over here, and that takes your eyes off the road. So my main concern was, will the cord reach its source without having to unplug it? So up under here is a, try and get this to pop open. There's plugs in here, and so then I can run the plug, and as you can see, it'll reach, and I can plug it in right there. It's on the right hand side in the back. So yeah, that'll work. In fact, I'll probably just leave this cord right in there and plug it in as needed, and I'll have it right there handy. I took the rest of the stem caps and stuff, and I put them in, I just put them in the console. I put them all in that little bag with the extra gaskets. And so now it's reading the sensors. So as you can tell, the front 2 tires are at 60, The left duals are at 59, both of them, and the right side, the inner dual's at 60, right side's 59. So really what I should do to get them back up to 61 is I'd have to take all the caps off again, loosen the nuts, but put 62 pounds of pressure in them, and then put the caps back on. You lose about a pound just putting the caps on because, you know, when you press it down, the air comes out. But we're okay right now. Right now, I just want to kind of look at it and watch it and make sure that none of them are like leaking or causing it to leak. So we'll come back and check it later to make sure those 59s haven't fallen off to 58, 57, just to make sure that they're not loose or, you know, whatever. So anyway, that's the install. It was pretty easy. And I think this is a good location too for the solar panel. This is a big windshield. And so the solar can hit it and charge it. And then you shouldn't have to plug it in that often. Now being stored here in the garage, you may have to plug it in. But when we're out on the road, you know, the sun's going to hit that. It's going to charge it. So that's cool. Yeah, so I think that completes this DIY project. DIY project, do it yourself. DIY, I always get that backed up. DIY project is complete, and we've got tire monitoring sensors on the motorhome now, and so that's nice to have because you don't, you know, on a long trip you don't want to have to pull over and check your tire pressures. And here you can see the tire pressures, they're being monitored all the time, and if you have one that's leaking, then you can get somewhere to fix it before it becomes a problem, like a blowout or tears off. Because when you have a blowout on a motorhome, it can tear off half the fenders and do a lot of damage. So this way you can just keep track of your tire pressure, because that's very important. You're carrying a lot of weight here, and sometimes you're a long way between areas where there might be service for tires, so especially if you're going up to Alaska. And also what it does, as you can just see, is it turns itself off. And when it senses motion in the area, like I just moved my hand, it turns itself back on. So it has an energy saving feature. So pretty neat. I like it. And I think it was a good purchase. And over here on the left, you can see your battery life. I've got it set to PSI. If you're metrics or in Canada, then you can set it to kilograms. And then over here, you can also set the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius. It doesn't display it, but there is a Fahrenheit to Celsius switch. If you want to change it, you can do that. So anyway, once again, that completes another good DIY, and I'm anxious to get on the road, and I have something else that's helping to keep us safe.